So I'd filmed a sort of Best Camera of the Year awards and hopes and prayers for all the camera manufacturers in 2025 video. But all that rambling was like a half-hour video. So I will still, give you that video. I'll add it to the back end as like an appendix to this video. But I didn't think that many people were going to watch a half-hour video about me rambling about all this stuff. So to kick this video off, I thought I would just list out my Camera of the Year awards. And then if you want more color and why I picked those cameras, that kind of a thing, you can watch the video and see all my reasoning behind each choice. So let's get into the Camera of the Year awards for 2024. The best lens for 2024 is the Sigma 28-45 f1.8. Great job, Sigma. That's some innovation. The best Micro Four Thirds camera for 2024 was the Panasonic GH7. Congrats, Panny Boy. The best APS-C camera for 2024 is the Fujifilm X100VI. And then if you can't get that camera, it's the X-T50. Great job, Fuji. The best full-frame camera of 2024 was the Nikon Z6 III. Great job, Nikon. I do want to put an asterisk on that win because I did not try the Sony A1 II yet, and then the Sony A9 Mark III technically came out in 2023, so it doesn't make this list, but I could see one of those cameras being named in this spot, especially the A9 III with its global sensor, whatever. That is really the biggest innovation that's come out in cameradom in a while, but it didn't come out in 2024, so Nikon gets the win. The best medium format camera in 2024 is the Hasselblad 907X 100C. Congrats, Hassie. You beat out the Fujifilm GFX 100S Mark II, which was just an iterative update. And then the best overall camera of 2024 was the Nikon Z6 III. This thing does photo and video extremely well, and on the video side it shows Nikon's improvements and gives me hope for Nikon becoming possibly the best hybrid option in the market. I mean, the thing can internally record ProRes and N-Log RAW. That's amazing. It's also got me hopeful that in 2025, Nikon will bring out some firmware updates and give that camera shutter angle, anamorphic D-squeeze, and maybe even open gate recording. I'm positive the sensor and processor can do it. Nikon, just get those fingers typing on the keyboards. Get coding. Let's go. Okay. So those are my award picks. If you want to know why I picked those, I would say then listen to the longer video that's at the end of this video after this, and then make some comments and let me know your thoughts below, okay? Thanks so much for watching this year. Please stick around for 2025. I've got much more to come. A lot of content like medium format, maybe some Hasselblad, Fujifilm. I've got some Canon stuff here. I've got some Nikon stuff here, I've got some Sony stuff here. So we're going to do all kinds of stuff in 2025. We're going to try to up the production value. I'm going to try to get out of my kitchen and get out in the world with some of these videos. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. So I'm happy to report that I'm back home in Austin, Texas after a quick holiday Christmas jaunt. So I wanted to make sort of like a wrap-up end-of-year video before 2024 runs out. So I'm going to sort of do two different things in this video. One, I'm going to give out some Camera of the Year awards. And then I'm just going to talk about what I want each camera manufacturer to do in 2025. And when I say what I want them to do, it means what I hope they will do, not probably what they're actually going to do. Before I get into the awards, I have to say this was a year with a lot of camera gear that was released, but not a lot of exciting camera gear. I think the theme of 2024 largely was a year of iterations. You had the R5 Mark II, the A1 Mark II, the X100VI, the GFX 100S Mark II. The Hasselblad 907X 100C is an update of the 50C version of that camera. The Leica SL3, all these cameras are updates of previous models. I think there's a lot of good updates, but I don't know that those kinds of updates should win you camera of the year, you know? I want to see innovation. To try to keep this as fair and balanced as possible, the camera of the year awards and categories will only include items that I tried in 2024 and that were released in 2024. So that may influence a few of the categories, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But I just wanted to clarify that that was sort of the criterion for making this little fun list. So those are sort of the three criterion I used. Did it come out in 2024? Did I try it? And is it innovative? Okay, let's get the Camera of the Year awards started. So first category, Best Lens of the Year. I'm going to give this to Sigma for their 28 to 45 f1.8. In a year where Sigma put out a 28 to 105 2.8, Canon put out a 28 to 105 2.8. Sony did not update theirs, but Sony came out with a 28 to 70 f2 to match Canon's 28 to 70 f2. I'll also say, you know, one reason I'm still really interested in the Canon system is they have a bunch of interesting lenses. Like if the 10 to 20 millimeter f4 came out this year, I would probably give that lens the Lens of the Year award. I think that's the most unique camera lens in cameradom right now. So hopefully Sigma will come out with something like that for L and E mounts soon. Sigma was really the only lens manufacturer that came out with something in 2024 that was different from the competition. So that's why the 28 to 45 f1.8 gets this award. Congratulations, Sigma. Okay, next category. Let's get into the camera bodies. Best Micro Four Thirds camera of the year is the Panasonic GH7. It's a beast of a video camera and it takes some nice photos. Also, it's one of the 2 Micro Four Thirds cameras I tried and I didn't really like the Deluxe 8. Congratulations, Panasonic, Lumix. You probably don't win a lot of these awards, so you got one this time. Okay, next category. Best APS-C camera of the year goes to the Fujifilm X100VI. I mean, I don't think there's any question that this is the camera of the year for APS-C. They're impossible to get. It's still being talked about. It still is like the internet darling. It's bringing so many people into photography. Plus, it's just a joy to shoot. It's a great everyday carry if you can get one. So I think the award has to go to this camera. Even though Fuji released a bunch of other interesting APS-C cameras, the XM5 for vlogging, and then the XT50, which I think is the best APS-C camera if you can't get an X100VI. Yeah, that's a really underrated, fun camera. I still think the award has to go to this guy. It just sort of stormed the charts, stormed the industry. So congratulations, Fujifilm. You made the best APS-C camera, or really all of the best APS-C cameras this year. I'm not sure if the Sony a6700 came out this year or not, but I didn't try it, so I can't rank it. Congratulations, Fujifilm. All right. Probably the most hotly contested category where the most action happens in cameradom. Best full-frame camera of the year. All kinds of cameras were announced, you know, from Sony, Nikon, Canon, Panasonic. I think the S9 was this year, right? Leica. For me, I think the camera of the year in the full frame category is probably the M11 black paint. You know, I just love this camera, but it's not innovative. It's just a different paint job on a camera they already released. So I don't think that wins the award, but you know, that's the full frame camera I use most from the ones that came out this year. So I had to mention it, you know. Oh, Leica, besides the black paint, the M11 black paint, Leica came out with the SL3, which was like a near miss of a camera. You know, because the Sony a7R5 exists with the same sensor, is so much more functional. I don't think I can give the award to the SL3. They came out with a Q343, which is a cracking everyday carry camera, but that's a very limited purpose camera, so I don't think I can give the award to that guy. But you had the R5 Mark II, which I think is an absolute smashing camera. It kind of does everything, but it's a little bit weak in the video department. But like for photo, it can do it all. If you're a Canon shooter and you want to do video, it is probably your best option without going to their cinema line now. I didn't get to try the R1, but I'm sure that's a fantastic action camera, not something I use, but I think also awesome. But same thing, the video features aren't as robust as some other manufacturers, which I will talk about a little bit more later in the video. Sony came out with the A1 Mark II. I haven't gotten to try it, so I can't, say that is on the list. That might really be the camera of the year. I think it's a good update. I think people on the internet are freaking out because it was iterative and not game changing. I'll get into my prognostications for Sony later in the video, but I think in some ways it's a good thing the A1 II is iterative. It still keeps Sony at the top of the pops in terms of tech. It has some new stuff. It's a better body design, but I think it means that innovation might be coming later for other cameras, which is a good thing. I think the Panasonic S9 came out this year, but I did not like that camera. It doesn't have an EVF. It needs an EVF, so that's out. I'll talk more about what Panasonic needs to do to get on this list next year, later in the video. And then there's Nikon. They came out late last year with the Nikon ZF, which is another camera, had it come out this year, might be in contention for the best full frame camera of the year. But since it didn't, I think the best full frame camera of the year was made by Nikon, the Z6 III. This is a true all-rounder. It can do it all in terms of photo and video. The video features in here simply beat the video features in a Canon camera. And they're getting close to Panasonic and Lumix. And in some ways, the video features in this camera are better than anything on the market, except maybe the A1 Mark II. You can record internal ProRes in this camera. It spits out ProRes RAW. You can record N-Log RAW internally in this camera. So for that reason alone, this might be the best video camera on the market, like outside of maybe the A1 Mark II or going to a cinema line. The photo experience is very nice on here, although there are some fidgety things just using Nikons in general. They're not as easy to use as Sony and Canon cameras, candidly. I'll make a whole video about that when I do my review of this camera. The viewfinder is nice, 5.6, I think 5.46, whatever it is. Maybe the best that Nikon's ever made. Super clear. The back screen makes photos look nice. Unlike Sony cameras, the back screen makes your photos look nice after you've taken them, so you can actually see how the shot looks without having to take a memory card out of the camera. I think the ergonomics of Nikon cameras are fantastic. Everything falls to your hand. Again, I have some nits with this. I'll make a whole video about it, but just a really, really well done camera. But yeah, I think the partially stacked sensor was an innovative solution to keep the cost of the camera down. It makes it shoot plenty fast. It can do pre-capture and photo. The video features are cracking. I think with a firmware update that's probably coming soon, this will get very close to the Lumix. I'm sure they're going to put shutter angle in here. Hopefully they'll put frame lines in here. Hopefully they'll put anamorphic D-squeeze in here. And if I'm really getting all my wishes, they'll put open gate recording in this. And then this would be, again, depending on what Sony does with the A1 Mark II, this would be the best non-cinema camera, video camera on the market, I think. So, really catches Nikon up, right up there with Sony and Canon and all the big boys, and probably puts it ahead of both Canon and Sony for their sort of mid-grade, entry-level pro camera, i.e. the R6 Mark II and the Sony a7 IV. This is just a better camera than those. So, I think largely because so many cameras do the photo experience well, that it's the video features of the Z6 III plus the partially stacked sensor innovation that makes the Nikon Z6 III the full frame camera of the year. Next category is the best medium format camera that came out in 2024. If you watch this channel regularly, you know that I own the Fujifilm GFX 100S Mark II. It's a great camera, but it's just an update of the 100S. And unfortunately, they didn't really update the video features and give you everything that you get in the GFX 100 Mark II. The GFX 100 Mark II would probably be the camera of the year if that had come out in 2024. But because they crippled the video features in this guy, I don't want to give this the award. If you're only going to do photo and you want to get into medium format, I'll tell you this is probably your best bet in terms of economics. You can get it for $5,000 new, less than that used, and it is basically the same sensor as the GFX 100 Mark II, which is the most performant sensor that in current production model cameras outside of the Phase 1 cameras. So just an excellent, relatively budget-friendly way to get into medium format. However, because of the crippling in the video, I'm not giving this camera the award. The best medium format camera that came out in 2024 is the Hasselblad 907X100C. That camera is just sexy. I'm giving Hasselblad this award because I love that they're doing something different, and that's what I want to see camera companies doing. I wish that camera had IBIS. I wish it had some kind of video functionality. I wish it had some sort of EVF solution, but it doesn't. So just like on looks and the fact that you strap it to the back of a 500 series film camera, I still might get one, even though I have Fuji medium format cameras. So that burning desire makes it the best medium format camera of 2024. Congratulations, Hasselblad. So drum roll, please. What was the best camera of the year? You might have guessed it, the Nikon Z6 III. Like I said when I was talking about the best full-frame cameras, I just think that Nikon knocked it out of the park in terms of updating the video and photo features in this camera. If they put highlight blinkies in here, they put shutter angle, anamorphic D-squeeze, and open gate recording, which are all doable via firmware, I believe, this camera would just be an absolute barn burner. Because of that promise, because of the innovation of the stacked sensor, the partially stacked sensor, this is the camera of the year. Congratulations, Nikon. You did it. A quick bonus category. This camera definitely did not come out in 2024, but its significant price drop in 2024 bears mentioning, I think. And that is the Leica SL2S. I actually think this guy might be a better camera than the SL3 in a lot of ways, especially for video. There's something magic about the video that comes out of this camera. Of course, it's excellent for photo. It has the amazing, magical Leica photo experience. And now you can get it for like $2,500 new, $2,000 or less used. Apart from autofocus and the ability to record like ProRes internally, this is basically on par with the Nikon Z6 III, the winner of Camera of the Year, and it's basically the same price, and it's a Leica. So I just wanted to mention that. This is kind of like I think like a runner-up, maybe, or like a secret category. It definitely didn't come out in 2024, but it came out as a budget option in 2024. So for that reason, I'm giving the Leica SL2S the secret category win for this year. Congratulations, Leica. Now that the awards are out of the way, I want to talk about what I hope each camera manufacturer does in 2024. I'm going to try to do this alphabetically. Forgive me if I get one wrong. So first, Canon. They had a banging 2024. They came out with the Canon R5 II. They came out with the R1, which is really just an R3 Mark II. Let's be honest. It's part of the iteration, I think, theme of 2024, for being really honest, They came out with the 28 to 105 f2.8. They have that 10 to 20 that I mentioned. They have a 28 to 70 f2. They've got a really compelling lens line. If they were to come out with tilt shift lenses for the RF mount, that would be incredible. If they come out with a retro camera, like an AE1 type of a camera, I'm going to take a long, hard look at that because of the lenses they have. Not to mention that 35 f1.4 VML or VSM or whatever. I have that lens and I'm holding on to it in case they come out with a retro camera. Because the last thing I hope they do is I hope they also open up their mount to third-party manufacturers. Let me put some Sigma lenses on that retro camera, Canon. And I hope they announce that retro camera sooner rather than later, because I'm hanging on to those lenses, and if they're not going to do it, I'm going to sell them. Okay, next on the list is Fujifilm. Sweet, sweet Fujifilm. On the APS-C front, I hope that Fujifilm makes more X106s available and comes out with an X Pro 4 or 5. I'm hanging on to some lenses in that system. If they don't come out with an X Pro 4 or 5, I'm going to sell those lenses, and I'm basically exiting the system. I'll probably even sell my X106. The full-frame cameras that are now available on the market and the size of the cameras, especially the ones made by Sony and to some extent Nikon, like they have that 26mm pancake, just makes an APS-C camera less and less viable if it's not super sexy, retro, fun to shoot, and just like, vibey. It has the vibes. You shoot Fuji for the vibes. You take the APS-C hit for the vibes. Without the X Pro vibes, I think I just go to full frame and I exit the Fuji system in 2025. And then on the medium format side of things, Fujifilm, please, God, let the rumor be true that you're going to come out with a retro-styled medium format camera. If it's a fixed lens camera, that's fine. I'll buy it. It's true. But I would like it better if it was interchangeable lens and you came out with some small lenses to go on it. Just saying. Leica's coming out with medium format. I'll get more into that. You know, you got to get competitive. Hasselblad's nipping at your heels. Just saying. Speaking of Hasselblad, I doubt they'll do this, but I hope that Hasselblad comes out with an X3D. The X2D is just kind of a terrible camera. Like the EVF sensor doesn't work very well. You put the camera up to your eye, it doesn't switch half the time. The autofocus is awful. If they could just fix those things, maybe fix the manual focusing experience a little bit more. I mean, it could be a dream camera. Like Hasselblad, you can do it. Get DJI to give you their autofocus algorithms, I'm sure they can build an EVF sensor that just works like every other mirrorless camera on the planet, Let's go. I would also love it if they updated the 907 camera and just put IBIS in it. That's all you got to do really there. And then I've heard some rumors they may come out with like a true medium format camera, like an H6D replacement. And that would be my dream prayer for Hasselblad. Come out with a real medium format camera that's modular, that goes back to your roots, a real studio camera that real professionals can use. Stop playing around this prosumer, mirrorless DSLR type body. Go back to your roots. Make a real studio camera. Play to your strengths. Speaking of high-end manufacturers, next on the list is Leica. Sweet, sweet Leica. So, I'm sure people that watch this channel know that Leica is still probably my favorite camera brand. They just seem like they try the hardest. They are genuinely trying to make the best product possible and put the best features they can think of in their cameras. And that's why I like it so much. Plus, the user experience with these cameras is just phenomenal. So in 2025, I hope that Leica either updates the SL3, just admit it was, you kind of messed it up, put the regular power switch back on, fix the autofocus, maybe come out with an SL3S with these features. Because like the video, if you could put the video of the SL2S with a camera that has good autofocus, chef's kiss. Oh, and maybe also like get rid of the rolling shutter of the SL2S. So in 2025, I really hope that Leica comes out with a monochrome, either a Q3 or an SL monochrome. I love having the black and white EVF going. It just helps me visualize when I'm shooting monochrome. And if you've been watching my videos and you heard what I said, I'm kind of moving towards the SL2S as my main everyday carry camera, which means my M monochrome would get left behind. If I could get an SL2 or SL3 monochrome or a Q monochrome, just saying that might become the everyday carry. And then the big thing that I want from Leica, I pray is true, is that it's rumored, and I believe the chairman of Leica has said this in public, that they're coming out with a medium format system in 2025. Please let that be true, and please let it be in line in pricing-wise with the Hasselblad system, or even better, the Fuji medium format system. That would be fantastic. Thanks so much. You're the best. Your lens is the best. I can only imagine what your medium format lenses are going to be like. Oh, baby. The only reason I don't own the Summicron S lens and adapt it to the SL2S is that I don't know if it'll work on the new medium format. If it turns out that Leica doesn't come out with medium format, I might still rebuy that Summicron S lens, that 100mm Summicron, just to put on my SL2S. The lens is that good. It's worth the $1,000 whatever adapter. It is so good. Let's hope Leica's new medium format glass is even better. Next on the list is Lumix Panasonic. I'm going to put it in the L's for Lumix. Really simple message for you, Lumix. Come out with the S2R and the S2H, or everyone's going to leave you, and your camera business is going to go out of business. Another thing I would love to see from Lumix is a Micro Four Thirds little point and shoot, like one of those like GX80s or 85s. It's almost like a little rangefinder with a pop-up EVF. That would be so cool. I would probably buy one of those for like travel. But really, I don't want to take away the focus from my main message. Panasonic, where is the S2R? Where is the S2H? It needs to come out ASAP. So you probably already know what I'm going to say for Nikon. Like really, they've got the whole lineup. They just need firmware updates. Get those video features in, shutter angle, open gate recording, anamorphic D-squeeze. Put those in all your cameras. you've got the Red Luts, you got the Z6 III Cinema Beast, you know, just fix your firmware. Oh, put highlight blinkies in for photo, please. My goodness. Why is that Leica and Fuji the only two manufacturers that do that? Just doing that would differentiate you so much in photo, Nikon. And then on the hardware side, I could see them updating the Z9, make a Z9 II. It's not really for me, but I could see that happening. That would help them keep up with the other manufacturers. I would love to see either a ZF2 or like a ZFR, like a higher end, higher resolution ZF that fixes the problems of the ZF, like lighter, better handling, a little bit of a grip, joystick, sensor protector, those kinds of things they just kind of missed on the ZF. Maybe a full metal build, you know, make it the exact same size and shape of a film camera, just like Leica does. Then you might actually compete with Leica. That would be awesome. But mostly, I think Nikon, concentrate on those firmware updates. You're about to win this thing. I don't talk about this a lot. You might not know this unless you watch the channel very regularly. But like my first foray into digital cameras, or serious foray, was with Pentax cameras. I love Pentax cameras, but I just, you know, couldn't stick with them. And that's what started my mirrorless journey is I went from Pentax to a Fuji camera, actually, the X-T1. And so, like, I would love for Pentax to get more in the game because I think their cameras are great. I think their glass is fantastic. So there's like something of rumor that the K1 III might come out, and I think it might be kind of cool if it was just a DSLR. I would check that out. I would also love to see Pentax get into the mirrorless game, but I don't think that's going to happen. I love that they're making film cameras. I hope they come out with more film cameras. It would be cool if they came out with like a K1000 retro mirrorless camera. I doubt they'll do that. I would take a K1000 film camera. That would be cool too. Just don't do nothing, Pentax. That's my main wish for you. Do something in 2025. And then finally, phase one. I barely got to shoot phase one this year for lots of reasons. I might make a video about that. It seems like they're going towards like museum reproduction photographers, not commercial and fine art photographers, which I don't love as a shift, but I could be wrong about that. That might be just the reseller that comes to Texas. But anyway, so I only got to shoot phase one like once, maybe twice this year. Did not have any shoots where I needed to rent one, and it's super hard to rent one in Austin, nearly impossible. So, you know, since I've been in Texas, I've been shooting phase a lot less, honestly. But, you know, I'll still throw it in there. The only thing I have is like, are they going to update the IQ4? Like, do they go to 200 megapixels with a new camera? Like, I could see if Hasselblad comes out with something, then they'll be forced to do that, and that could be really interesting. Otherwise, as it is, phase one, my wish for 2025 is like, come to Texas, come to Austin. Let me use your cameras. Make it easier for me to use your cameras because I still would use them for certain things. Okay, so that's it. That's everybody. What did you think about everything I said? Do you agree with my Camera of the Year awards? That fun little thing? Do you agree with my wishes, hopes, and prognostications for the different manufacturers in 2025? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! If you've watched this channel, you know I have the Fuji... Whoops.